Did you recently read the Perplexity DeepSeek R1 collab newsletter? I'm going to highlight something that I really think was interesting for me. This model is hosted on servers based in the US and Europe, meaning that your data is not shared with the model provider or with China. And I was like, oh god, what's this entire fear about China and Chinese servers having our data? So I decided to dig in. What I found was that China basically has certain laws in place by which it can ask its app developers in the country to share information. Now, what are these laws? There are many. A couple of them are like the National Intelligence Law of 2017, the Cybersecurity Law, the Data Security Law. Basically, apps like Temu, Shein, etc. If they are asked by the government in China to provide user data, they can't say no, they have to give away that data. But that brings me to another question, or the next question. What happens on the American side of things? So in America, there is basically no such law where the app developers in America have to provide the user data to the government. But what America actually has is data brokers. Now, what are data brokers? Companies that actually collect personal information from sources like social media profiles, public records, and commercial entities, and then they sell this data. The US government do is that it buys this user data from these data brokers. FBI, the military, and several other government and regulatory agencies are frequent customers of these data brokers, both domestically and abroad, and the data they purchase gives them alarming amounts of power to gather sensitive information from large groups of people. In 2008, for example, LexisNexis, which is a very large commercial data broker, on its website said that 70% of local agencies and almost 80% of the federal government use LexisNexis. This brings me to the important point. Is there no such law in America which protects its citizens from this? There is a Privacy Act of 1974, but it has its own shortcomings. This loophole where the data brokers come in have a huge industry by which the government works with them to get user data as and when they want. This brings me to my last and final question. If both the sides, the government has access to user data and information, then what is the fear about? We should be fearful of a particular government having our information and data, or should we really be fearful about how this information or data is being used? If we really want to kind of protect ourselves, then what actions can we and should we take